Hey guys, today is going to be a tutorial on how to build my improved door trap, and I'm going to go over how to build this from scratch, and while we're doing that I'm going to explain how it's working and go over the wiring. So first thing we have to know is about the bud switches that I use, and these here is it uses a bug in Minecraft currently where pistons are actually powered by a block that's one up and one to the side, but the piston doesn't actually extend until there's an update around the block. So if we just activate the switch here, this piston currently is being powered, but it doesn't extend until a block update happens next to it. And the same for retracting. You power it off, and it doesn't happen until a block update happens. So if we show it with a door example, we power it. When the door is opened, this here will extend. When it's powered off, same thing. It'll retract when there's a change in state, which is activated by the door opening or closing. And one thing, if you want to use these to remember, is if you point the piston up, then you can run into some problems, as when the piston is extended, both blocks are counted as part of the piston when powering. So if we do here, we just place a door, we power it, so it's currently powered but not extended. And then we activate update, the piston extends, but right now this block next to it is powering it, and it's registering this extended part as part of the piston. So if we power it off, it automatically goes in because it's not up into an angle of it. It's right next to it. So it's kind of a thing to be careful of depending on how you design your systems when the pistons are pointing up. So first thing you want to do is decide where you're going to place your doors and put them down. Next, you want to dig out your hallway. So this is the floor that is going to open up and drop people in. Then, on each side, you want to dig out two to the side. And this here is going to be where you're going to place your pistons. So, we dig this out, and we place pistons along the far end. And then next, we want to place our floor block next to them. This can be done however you want. Since they're sticky pistons, you don't have to place them right now. This is just how I designed it, or how I do it. Next, we want power to these pistons, because since this is going to be our floor, we want the pistons extended, like preset. So these will be extended, making the floor here. So we're going to dig down. Now you can dig down 2 and place a torch. I dig down 3 and then place a torch on top of a block that I place. And then we're going to place a block on top of that. So this block is currently being powered, so it's going to activate this piston. But we want this to happen for all the pistons. So we're going to put blocks on top here. I'm going to place redstone here. And we're going to run it along here. And that's going to power all these pistons. And you can run this for the 15 blocks or more if you want to use repeater, but there will be a delay there. So we want to do the same thing on this side. I dig down 3, you can just do 2. Place a block and torch on top of that. Then we want to place a block on top of the torch, run the blocks along the top of the pistons, and then run the redstone. So this here, we now have the floor in front of the doors. Next, what we want to do is clear out an area behind the doors that we're going to set up all our wiring. I've done this a little bit already, so it's just a top layer here. So what you want to do is you want to come out 1 from the doors and then go over 1 to the side. So we're going to be on a little angle, and you want to dig out 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You then want to dig 8 this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you dig out this box. So I've done it already here, so I'm just going to clear out the area here. So I've just put a top layer so we can kind of go through this a little faster and get everything prepared. So this is where we're going to be placing our wiring. So essentially what we have here is a 12 by 8 by 3 box. And this is pretty much all you need for the wiring. You might be able to compact this more. I haven't found any way immediately, but I'm sure if someone comes up with some clever way, it's possible. So, and you can also move this off to the side. This is just the general idea of how I do it. I always do it in the front. You can move the wiring off to the side however you want and just rearrange it. Since this is it's fairly modular, meaning you can move parts of it around without any worries. So we have this area clear. So next thing we want to do is we want to set up the pistons next to the door that we're going to be using as our bud switches. So we dig out the 3 blocks to the right and left of the doors here. Then we're going to place a block here, and this is where we're going to place our pistons on. So we want the pistons next to the doors, and we want these pointing down. Next we're going to do is we're going to put the block that is going to move. So these blocks are going to move up and down and power some redstone. So next we're going to place some torches here, and this is the torch that's going to power this block, which is then in turn going to power some redstone that we're going to run out here and power the whole system. Next, to prepare, we want to dig out these blocks on the sides. So this is our torch that's powering the pistons that control the floor. So we want to do this on each side so we have access to this so we can control the floor. Next, later on when we link up one door to both sides, we're going to just do some prep here by digging out the blocks along here. So you see one to the right and left of the torches. So for a total of 6 blocks along here. And we're just going to run some redstone along here. We're going to hook this up later. Right now we're just setting this up so because we're going to be placing blocks, these 4 blocks on top. You don't really need them, you can really do this. I just make a little section here. And then we're going to run redstone off on the sides. So right now what this system's doing is the door is going to open or just change state. It's going to activate the bud switch, pushing the piston down. So the block's going to come down here, and when there's a block here, the torch will power the block, which will then in turn power the redstone. So we have this set up, or the front end set up in a basic style for now. So next what we want to do is we want to actually activate our bud switches, kind of set their initial state up here. So what we want to do is we want to put a block that's one up and one to the side. And then what I do is I bring them off to the sides, and this is where I'm going to run the redstone wire that goes to it. So what I do is I put a torch 2 blocks away, and then redstone in between. And what this is going to do is it powers this block. So right now the pistons are powered, but they don't actually extend until a block update happens. So here we open the door, then the piston extends, and then powers this wire. So just a sec here, I'll change the time. There, so just getting nighttime. So what we're going to do is we're just going to reset this. So power this block off, activate an update to retract that piston. So the next stage what we want to do is we want to have this so this piston extends and retracts on open and close of the door. And to do that, when the piston is extended, we want this torch to be powered off. So this block then becomes powered off, meaning another update here will retract the piston. So you see in a sec here what we're going to do. You'll see how it works. But what we're going to do is we're going to run blocks off here, and this is where we're going to set up our redstone to power these torches off. So what you do is you just put a repeater on each side, and then I put up to the maximum of 4 torch delays. So do this on each side, and then next thing we want to do is we want to run this down and connect it to this wire. So we just run it down here on both sides, and then we're going to connect the wires up. So this wire is going to run up here, this wire is going to run up here. So if you see here what this is going to do, we open the door once we power this, and this is going to activate the piston extending, and then it's going to power this redstone, which is then going to come up and turn off this torch, which is then going to turn off power here into the block, meaning another update will retract the piston. So you see here, we activate the update, the piston extends, powers this, the wire comes back, powers this off, meaning another block update will retract the piston. So right now we have the piston keeping track of the state of the door. Now, the system I have is set that the piston is retracted when the door is closed. If you set it up when the door is open, you can reverse that. So you see now it's extended when the door is closed, and then retracted when the door is open. So we just set this back to normal. So right now, we have the pistons keeping track of the door. Next, what we want to do is we want to run this wire and connect the same wire to the floor. So by using what we set up earlier, we run the redstone out here, down below here, and to this torch. So if we were to get rid of this and just did it like that, this door will control this side only. So what it does is the piston extends, powers this redstone, and then powers off this torch, retracting the pistons out here to open the floor. So you see there. So if we just get rid of this and place our redstone back here, using what we set up before, this makes it so both sides are controlled by either door. So we come up here, you see now both sides. So that was just the prep that we did earlier. So this here in a sense is basically the system you're looking at. And the extensions that you make it so the doors are automatically closed. Because since we already have this system set up so when the doors are open, the floor is open, if we automatically close the doors, then it's going to be the same as manually closing the doors, activating the update, which then closes them. So to do that, what we want is we want the doors to be powered on or off as if they were in their closed state. And then we want a pulse and a redstone to come when they're opened, causing the door to still be in the same state, because the pulse goes from a closed state to an open state, which doesn't change the door, but then it goes back to the closed state, which is then going to close the door again. So I'll kind of explain this a little more as we're going. So right there you see just a little power problem that you get when building, which is why I usually disable this. I usually disable this until I'm done building. So what we do is we just build a little arch around the doors. Now the thing is, show here, when you place two double doors next to each other, a problem is redstone on or off won't work for this each door the same. So you see here, this one here, when it's powered off, it is considered open. This one here, when it's powered off, it's considered closed. And for each of these doors, we want it to be initially set up to their closed state. So we want this redstone to be powered and this redstone not to be. So how we do this is the side that's powered we leave on top, and the side that's going to be turned off initially we run around here. So we run it like this, and this here will activate, so this block is activating this door, and the redstone up here is activating this door. So next we're just going to run this around, and this is going to be the wire that we control the left door here, and this is going to be the wire that controls the right door. So we're just going to run this down here, just place some blocks and run it down into our system. We're going to set up some stuff here in a second. We'll just get this prepped first, and then we want to do the same thing on this side, run it down below. So now we have the redstone here set up so it'll power the doors and it'll make them open or close. Now since we want this door to be basically, we want both doors to be powered as their closed state, and this door, you notice when you put redstone here, no power is its open state, so we want it to be powered to be in its closed state. So you just notice that there. Oops. Place the door back. So what we want is this line when it's closed to be powered on, and this one to be powered off. And then we want a pulse to happen, but I'll get into more of that in a second. So to explain what we're going to do here, so we're just going to run this wire out to the ends. And next what we want to do is, since we're going to be using a pulse for the doors that I'll try to explain a little bit clearer here in a second, we need just a pulse generator. And a pulse generator is basically a 2x3 setup. So what I'm going to do first is just have a repeater on each side, and this side here is activated by is a 2 torch delay. I'll explain that in a second. And then here's where we're going to set our pulse generator. We put a block, a torch on the side, 2 repeaters, and then a line along here. So, and then we come to this, and the farthest repeater we want to maximum delay. So what this does is, when power comes in, this is going to activate a pulse. So it's going to power this line off and then back on. And then if we do the same thing on this side, we have the same principle, but we want it to be reversed. So I'll just set this wire up. We set this to 4 torch delays and run our wires. So right now we see this wire is powered, and this wire, when powered, means this door is closed. So I'll just show you. So then if we power this wire, the door is closed. And if the door was to open and a pulse was to happen, this would be powered off, which is on, which is open, which is an open door, and then powered back on, so the door will close again. So I'll try and demonstrate this here specifically. So we have this side of the system set up currently. So you'll see a pulse is generated down here where the wire turns off and then back on. So the wire doesn't affect the door until it's powered back on again. So it's on, which is closed, means the door is closed. We open, and powers off, which doesn't activate anything on the door because the door is already open. But then it powers back on, closing the door automatically. So we see a pulse come, and it just automatically closes the door. So that's that side, and this side here is the same idea. It's just that you want it inverted, and because of this inversion, that's why we have a 2 torch delay on this. So it's just evenly timed on both sides. And then we connect this wire, and that'll do the same thing on this side. So we just arm this. That pulse that we generate closes the door again on both sides. So we do this, and that's the basic system that we have. Now, if you want to include a master on-off switch, we just need a few changes. First is we put 2 blocks here on each side, and we're gonna tear up these 3 pieces of redstone. We're gonna dig down along here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna just build a little bridge for the redstone, because we want redstone, that the same redstone that goes to the repeaters, to come down here and below. So just give a sec. Just set the time so it's day again. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're just going to build a little bridge so that the redstone can come under here. So we just run this wire up to the same wire that connects to the repeaters up here. Then we can run this down below. Now, to connect this, we just utilize the bridge we made. So rather than being straight along the ground, we just want it to come up and then back down, allowing us to run the wire underneath here. So what this wire is going to do is it's going to be powered on, and then that power is going to come into these repeaters, and then it's going to power the torches off. So it's going to power this redstone off, meaning the doors open or closing are not going to activate the bud switch. Because, for example, say if that was powered off, same as not being there, nothing's happening. So we want the wire coming down here to run power into these repeaters, turning these torches off, which deactivates the system. The problem with this is we have to take advantage of redstone's ability to only go 15 blocks. Because if we were to put a torch right here, the power is going to come up through here, hit this block, and then come down here and run back into the system as a whole. But we only want the redstone to get power up to here. We don't want it to come down to the pulse generators or anywhere else in the system. So to do that, we take advantage of the 15 block rule. So just dig down here. I'm going to place, this is the wire we're going to run. I'm going to run it off to this side. So we want to count 15 blocks from the farthest one, which in this case, since I put it on the left, will be this one. So we come over here and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then I just put a repeater here. I just put some light here, so it's a bit easier. So I put a repeater here, and that'll be the 15 blocks. So this will then come in and power these on. So I'll just dig this out and show you. So we put this powered. This line then comes in and powers up to here, and is powering the repeaters on both sides. But if you notice, it's only making it to this block and this block on the different sides because of the 15 power rule. So then you notice nothing happens. So that's basically the master on and off switch that we have. And then you can run this to any sort of switch or system that you want, as long as it just powers this on. And then we just power this back off, and the entire system's ready to go again. Everything's automatically handled. And then over here, you can then dig this away if you've already placed it. Then you can put whatever you want down here. You can make, for example, I did lava. You could do water for some reason, like if you had a really tall drop. But that's something I'm going to show you in a second here. But like over here, the one I had done, I just placed lava underneath, so it's going to drop them into lava. So you can do the trap however you want. But I'm going to show you some of the things I've done, and just show you a general overview of them, and basically what each of them are doing, and how they operate. Because while I haven't had time to fully wire each of these due to some time and just getting like enough time to make this video and get it out there, I haven't done like a professional wiring job. So first one here I've done is this here is just a quick drowning one. So you drop them into some 3 high water, and this one here will essentially drown them. So it's not too efficient if you're going to try to kill players, since they're most likely going to be able to get out of this in time. So that's just one little thing you can do. Oh, let's repair the floor. This one here, it uses the same concept, only it's 1 high. So the point is the floor will actually crush them. So you come here, this floor is meant to crush them. And then we have water underneath that they'd be sitting in, so when they die, their items will come into the water and then flow out here, so you can run this to a collection area. So that's one way, another way to kill them. Another way you can set this up, you'll see, so when they open, they fall down a long drop and into 1 high water. Because if water's only 1 high, it only cushions the fall for so many blocks. So if this fall is high enough, even if this 1 block of water here, they'll still die, and then you can do the same thing and run this water off however you want to collect their items. So you can just do a simple drop. Then over here, look here, you'll see down below, it's water. But I've just got some dispensers here. And right now this isn't really wired. This is one that I just didn't have time to do the full wiring on. So I just activated a little clock system here when the doors are opened that keeps shooting these. So what this would do is you'd come down here and you could shoot arrows at them killing them that way. You could also set lava in front of this so you could have flaming arrows shooting them. And then the same thing with the water. The water flows off, carrying their items to a collection point. So this one here, what you want is something that came down here, powered these dispensers, and like kind of make them shot, and then eventually turn off and be ready for the next person. But right here it's just a one-use system that comes down and activate these, and it keeps going until until you cut it off. So over here is the next one. This one here was a bit of a failed experiment with one. But this one here is the other one that I just didn't have time to wire for. So this is just a quick and dirty thing to keep this line powered for a while. And what this does is it just powers the pistons above. So these bolts will come down and crush the player instead. So you just have here, your open door. The bolts come down for a while and crush, killing them. And you could also keep the bolts down, keep the pistons down here, so that after they die, which could be set up by timing everything. This is just a quick and dirty one to have it on for a certain period of time. So you could have this, you could have these powered on long enough to kill someone, and then they retract, and then the floor opens up, dropping their items to a collection point as well. So that's just a quick overview of the different ways to do the trap. So I hope this tutorial was helpful, because I know some things I may not be clear at trying to explain, like with the pulses themselves. So I hope I gave you a good view of how to build this trap from scratch. So if there's any questions, just let me know. If you think any improvements I could do, like for making this video, like trying to explain something, I'll try to include it in the description if it would really help someone. So just let me know what you think in the comments below, and thanks for watching this tutorial. Hey guys, one thing I thought I'd include at the end of the video is just a little look at another trap I've been working on, just to see if people would like a video on that as well. So this one here, it just uses the idea that you can trample farmland. So right now it's a bit glitchy on servers, so it doesn't always work, so I just show it a little faster if it was trampled. So it activates the trap. See, like a little mine. This here is basically the same one too. It just operates a little bit differently in the wiring, something I could explain in the actual video, because it actually is a bit closer to the actual block itself. So, and over here I have one that's a little different. It takes a lot more space to do, but when you trample it, the TNT actually pops up itself. So just let me know if people would like a video on how to do this. I can do one up for another trap video, and thanks for watching.